So, all right. Sorry, we were catching up.
We're back.
My computer messed up, and we're back. So we're here with Will Brahm. We were talking about his recent travels and what he's up to, and I wanted to selfishly hear about him playing with Arturo because I love that. I love him. I love that style of music, and he's playing guitar with him. So for me, obviously, I'm into it. But what? Yeah, I mean, what have you been doing?
Absolutely.
What's it like? Like you were talking, you started talking. I interrupted you because my computer failed me.
So, yeah, I joined Arturo in 2019. And, the single biggest thing I've gotten out of getting to play with him is he really demands every member of his band really play out.
Okay.
And, we're both guitar players that exist in a jazz realm and surrounding jazz adjacent realms. And a lot of times guitar players can be discouraged from really playing out, you know, uh, coming up in like the jazz education thing that I did. A lot of the times it's like, don't play too loud, don't play too much, stay out of the way of the piano player, stay out of everyone's way, you know.
That's true, dude.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just like a part of being a guitarist in the jazz realm, and I think most people would understand where I'm coming from with that. But with Arturo, he pulled me aside pretty early on and just said, "I need you to play out. I need you to really bring it. Meaning play loud, play fast. When it's your turn to solo, take it." And that's a special thing because if you get gigs with certain artists, legacy artists, sometimes they don't really want you to like step out and like take the reins. That is what he wants. So it's a really great opportunity, and it challenged me to really like find ways not just to keep up with the energy of the band, but to like drive the energy of the band, or like get when it's my turn to solo to that. So that's been the single greatest opportunity. It's fun, and Arturo has fun on stage, and he's been doing this so long that when he gets on stage, he kind of is just exploring different things. I find that if I'm playing with my band, I book this show, I'm finally here, got people to come out. I'm like, there's all these things running through my head. You're trying to like put on a good show. Arturo's kind of just like, it's like he's just walking in the park, like looking at, So it's been a really wonderful, one of a kind experience working with Arturo. Yeah.
That's great. Honestly, I mean, it must feel nice to be able to sit down and play. Like
yes.
He's giving you that, like he's giving you the reins to kind of like, here, you take the reins when it's your turn and you go for it. Like you drive.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's great. What's it like? I mean, what kind of tunes are you guys playing? Like, sorry, I want to just know for me, I'm just getting nerdy.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you play? Are you reading a lot? Is he like throwing you like new tunes? Like, I'm just curious what the repertoire is like.
There's no reading. That band sometimes verges on like being a jam band.
Okay.
There are times where we'll really just stretch out on like a key, and we jam, we like toss solo on and we break it down, certain things. We'll take a cadenza. There'll be certain songs that like you can expect him to play, like Cherokee. We play like at 400 really fast. We'll play, a good amount of like timba stuff, and like he's got some real popular tunes that he's really hardwired over the years, like Manicero, and a couple of his originals that are kind of in like that, like, Latin jazz idiom that kind of bring that vibe. But it's a very type thing. And I mean, sometimes, he'll walk over to the keyboard and he'll just start playing a new riff, and it's like, oh, okay, we're going this way now.
Yeah.
But cool. No, there's no reading because, I mean, the tunes that are really arranged, you learn them, and you learn them pretty quickly. And what it becomes is, the tunes, and there's a list. It's not a huge list, but there's like various tunes and inside of that, you're playing and you're watching and you're reacting.
That's cool.
So it's not a reading gig. It's waiting to see what's next gig.
Yeah, I like that. That must be fun. Because you probably really get to dig in with the guys too, right? all over.
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, the band is great, and like, being a guitar player, locking in the solid bassist and drummer is just like best. Because
Yeah.
guitar can when you step, even if it's like an R&B funk thing, and you're really just digging into some single notes, locking with the hi hat. And then it's like your turn to solo, and then you can like just float with some long sustained notes over the top while bass and drums are holding. Yeah, man, it's really fun. It's really
That's
fun.
what I'm saying, dude. That's tight. Well, that's great, man. That's cool to get to play. I mean, Arturo is like, I mean, he's a legend. That's cool. Like, that's cool that
Absolutely.
you get to interact with kind of like the old world in that sense. Like, I think that's really cool because that's for me. I just like the legacy of jazz and like how how it progresses. So it's cool. It's like you're kind of touching part of it. It's really cool.
He played with Dizzy Gillespie. He partnered in Vera with bands like EDK, and I mean, that stuff. It's etched in modern music history.
Yeah,
So
for sure,
it's
dude.
very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what are some of like your favorite gigs so far? Like, where have you guys been? Like, what
Mm.
or like maybe not even places, but like the night was really hitting, and for some reason that night was really special musically. Like, where were you?
Mm.
I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. Usually the best is when we're on a run. And we get to play the Blue Note in New York like 5 nights in a row, 2 shows a night. That's 10 gigs, and it's like you really just get into a flow.
Oh,
Like you walk on stage and and you're gone.
yeah,
And
that's cool.
and entering it's like getting in faster. Okay, we're gonna leave first thing in the morning on Friday. We're gonna get in, we're gonna go through customs. We're gonna like get in Friday night. We're gonna like play the gig Saturday. We're gonna leave Sunday at 3 a.m. We're gonna get back Sunday afternoon. Those gigs are always a little harder because it's like you're spending more time in the air than you are making the music.
Mm.
So anytime where we have multiple gigs in a row in one city, that's when you know,
That's when it really
it
hits. Like,
sets you up for like a deeper dive.
okay, sorry, you're cut up a little bit, but I think I heard what you said. You said it when you have multiple nights in a row, it like really sets you up to just kind of dive deep.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. Well, if I am I breaking up at all on my end?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
My computer's very old, and it's like, oh, I have another pet. I gotta get that pedal.
You're hilarious, dude. Hey, you know what? You know what we can maybe try is maybe
Hmm.
we can just maybe try and take your video off.
Video off.
I don't know if that
Stop
would help.
video. How's that?
I think the audio might be good and it has your cool image on there. I
Okay.
hate that I have to do that, or I don't know. It's just breaking up, but maybe try and turn it back on, see what happens. Yeah,
Testing, testing.
there he is. I don't see you, but
Do you want me to put the video back on?
let's try it. Let's see if it works.
And we're back.
Anyways, well, sorry. This is why I hate doing Zoom interviews, but it's fine.
It's the world we live in. Anyway, yes. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Arturo's gig is awesome.
Dude,
Totally
that's so
awesome.
cool, man. Congrats for you. I'm glad, and I'm stoked. That's really cool.
Thank you.
All right. So, what about like you were talking about like kind of how did you find music, sort of like how did you come up finding jazz? And I know you're from Oregon. Is that right?
Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. What was that like? What
I
for me,
mean,
when I found music, it was through going. When I found jazz, it was like through going to school because no one had introduced it to me. So I was just curious how you kind of found it.
yeah. I mean, as far back as I remember, I was listening to music. You know, Mike loves music, constantly playing records. I started playing guitar, but before then, I just listened to music all the time. I think even if I didn't end up playing guitar, I would probably be involved in music in some way. If it was drumming or playing bass or like, I just love living inside of a song. You know what I mean? I feel like possibly to my detriment, I like need to have music playing in my ears, you know? Um, and like sometimes I'll make conscious decisions like I'm gonna not listen to music on this drive home, you know, because I just like listen to music all day. I just made music all day. I just like thought about music all day. So that instilled the bug. And I mean, you know, throughout eighth grade, throughout high school, I was learning guitar. And, you know, I came about into jazz initially more from the desire of wanting to just understand more about the inner workings of music, which naturally led me to like theory, understanding like all this complex harmony that jazz can often have a lot to do with. I didn't latch onto way was that soulful part of like what the blues gives and what the blues into jazz gives. And that's like where I'm living now. I feel like it was actually a long road, and I kind of, you know, some people come into the blues, into jazz. I was very much a technician and the methodical type kid in high school learning chord inversions, but I don't think I really had the sauce. And like now I'm really trying to just like, I just play the blues.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I'm so glad you said that.
And inside of that, it's endless.
Right.
Huh?
I was just saying, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. That's great, man. I totally know.
Because like, you know, and I mean, if you have elements of the blues in whatever you're doing, whether you're playing over Coltrane changes or playing over a quarter song or playing over a blues or rhythm changes, like I feel like that adds the spice that just feels good. So my, you know, development as a jazz musician has been a little strange in that way. But I think kind of makes sense. I had a very analytical type mind. And so like I first gravitated towards like, you know, the stepping stones of music theory rather than just like, all right, I'm going to like really dig into playing St. James in Infirmary right now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, man. Honestly, I would totally agree because for me, like the way it really happened for me is honestly not even through jazz. It was like through playing church music, like gospel music. And that's how for that's I mean, because that's just blues all day, like, and they're so good at it the way they speak.
That's what everyone relates to.
Yeah, I mean, dude, at the end of the day, that's what. Yeah, it speaks. You know, and that's what speaks to you. I don't. It's just it is what it is. Like it's just I play guitar because I like Jimmy. Like that's what they're doing. Yeah,
I think that being an artist, being a real artist means that whatever you're playing has enough in it that speaks to music heads and that speaks to people that aren't music heads but feel something radiating from the music that they go, oh, cool, and they can latch onto. And like you mentioned, Jimi Hendrix, like Jimi Hendrix is like more than a musician. He's more than a songwriter. He's more than a singer. He's like I mean, icon isn't the right word, but I mean, what he represents is like a figure that people partake in, you know? And I think that's really great art.
what did you say that he
You
was?
know,
You broke up a little bit.
he's not a musician or just a singer or a song, but he's really just a figure that people marvel at, want to partake in, and want to like ink. And it's a real artist.
Mm. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's
Yeah,
just, it like hits, it kind of just hits home. You know, it's just speaking to you. But I love it, man. That's cool. Like,
absolutely.
I'm glad you're just getting to like play guitar, dude. That's tight. Like,
Playing guitar is the greatest.
I mean, you just like, it seems like you're just getting to really play, like, you're getting to really sing on it. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like it's kind of hitting your soul and you're just like, you just love it. And I can tell, and it's tight.
You know, you said it, man. Getting to sing on the guitar, and I think a lot of guitarists will understand this. Like ways to play the guitar, and
Mm.
singing on the guitar is one of the ways. Other ways is being an accompanist, right? Being a chordal player, playing solo guitar, playing prepared music, writing your own music. Playing the guitar is it's a rhythm instrument. It's like you could just strum chords, but that element, like you said, of singing on the guitar. Talk about guys like Jimi Hendrix. Talk about guys like Jeff Beck.
Mhm.
Talk about guys like BB King. I would throw John Mayer into that. They really sing through their instrument.
Oh,
And
100%.
like that, and it's a different thing than being a good accompanist or like, that guitar just provides a universe of options. And I've kind of really, the older I've gotten, really dove into like all these different things, which has perhaps made me more of a scattered musician, but also more of a diverse and more of a passionate musician, because it's just like, depending on the context, there's so many different things you can do. But
Mhm.
singing through the guitar is such a special thing. You play something, and an audience member who doesn't know anything about music like will come up to you and be like, "Wow, you're really singing through that guitar." That's like the greatest compliment
Yeah, I
of,
would agree.
you know, yeah.
That's funny because you know what? I've always loved that. Actually, I really love that about music is that you could take someone who quote unquote doesn't know anything about music, but like when they sit down and hear a band that's killing or someone that is clearly a master of their instrument, it's like, or on their way to it, you know, it's like they can tell and it like really does move them. It's like, but they don't know anything about music, but it's like they do, like we all do.
And sending like the initial information, and like it's like on this upper level of wavelengths that we can't see or hear, but it is reaching to the audience, and they are like getting something out of it. Lots of guitars.
I love it. Hey, you know what's funny, man? I still think that like there's got to be more to music than it just sounds good and feels like I feel like there's like that side of what you're talking about. I feel like there's got to be more to that, and I feel like that's why music is part of humans and why we use it at like special occasions, or that's why we use it in church when people worship, or that's why we use it for like celebrations or getting stoked. I don't know. It definitely gets you stoked. Like there's got to be more to it than it just sounds good.
Music is its own thing in it. Like you can listen to a song from the 1930s, and it will transport you to that era, and you will think in that era. You will like imagine things in that era. I don't really know of many other things that do that. If people want to make period piece or era, what's it going to contain? The music that was being made then. I mean, how many other art forms are like that, where it's performing art, it's done live, and it evokes like anything that you want to evoke. I think music is just so strange and awesome. you know?
Oh, I love it, man. So what kind of like what have you been into like that you're listening to now, or that maybe you're not listening to? Like sometimes I don't listen to specific things all the time. I don't know, it just depends on how I'm feeling.
Mm.
But I'm just wondering, like, are you working on something specific right now and you're playing, or are you listening to something specific, or like a way of playing, or
Oh yeah.
that makes sense?
Well, I recently recorded my new album, which that always kind of feels like a a checkpoint in your life when you. So I'm in the process of like mixing that with my engineer, which is super fun. And since then, it's all my original songs. And basically after that, I was like, I want to change the way that I write music. Like I'm really happy with these songs, and they're super special to me. I'm so happy, and they're printed. So now what? So I started actually writing music for 35 minutes every day. I just do it every
Nice.
day. I set a timer, and what it does is it removes expectation,
Yeah,
and it actually increases creativity.
I agree.
Because there'll be periods where I literally spend 3 weeks on one song, and it like becomes this thing, and then I don't like any of it, and I take all these things away, and it's back down to nothing, and then it like builds into something else. Not back this way, but it removes expectation, pressure, and it just opens up. You're like, well, what if I try this?
Right.
And I can try this because I'm going to have 35 minutes tomorrow to do the same thing, and the next day, and the next day. That has been like the biggest new thing that I've really been partaking in creatively. And it feels really good. Taking away expectation and putting in the time each day. That's been cool. And a lot of songs have surfaced different types. That's been so refreshing. As for listening, I mean, I kind of think of listening in two different ways. There's times where I want to listen to certain songs because they make me feel good. Do you ever do that where you have like 5 songs that you could just listen to nonstop for the rest of your life because they just do something to you?
Yeah.
So I have those. But then I also have time where I'm deliberately wanting to just listen to different things for the sake of listening to different things. So actually something that I've been exploring is just going on to Spotify, going onto an editorial playlist. I don't care the genre. Literally, it could be whatever. It could be heavy metal. It could be prog rock. It could be K-pop. And like usually I'll do this when I'm doing like office work, and I just press play and I just listen. I don't expect to get anything out of it. I just want to hear stuff
Yeah, I get you.
that I wouldn't hear. And that's been great. And I like discovering, and sometimes you find cool things. Who's this artist? Oh, what's this song? Oh, cool. I literally never would have found this.
Right.
Those have been two big things that I've been really enjoying.
Nice. I think
Yeah.
that's cool. I like the idea of just kind of introducing sounds that maybe you would never, just for sound's sake.
Absolutely. Guitar players, man, we function in like practically every idiom of music.
Right.
So why not listen to a bunch and like just like hear some stuff? And then, we're all opinionated. Like, for example, some opinions that I have is like I'll listen to like heavy metal and hard rock, and I'll go, none of these guitar sounds really do anything for me. Like literally, they just sound completely void of any soul and anything worth listening to.
Hmm.
Sorry, that's how I. And then I'll listen to like,
Well, you know what not to do.
yeah, I mean, again, cool. I respect it.
Yeah.
Respect for
Fair
the
enough.
craft, but that ain't my thing. And it's just I just want to hear things. And I mean, as a guitar player interacting with technology, an amplifier is like, this is where our sound comes from
Mhm.
when we're making music. Unless you're playing acoustic guitar,
Right.
in a studio, like this is the sound.
Yeah.
This is happening, and it's coming out of here. So we have to like spend 10,000 hours knowing what this is about. In addition to playing.
Okay, can I ask you like a show question, because I feel like on that note, my biggest pet peeve is when like someone tells me how to set the volume of my amp, and then because they want to mic it. And I'm just like, what? Like,
Oh,
I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I know exactly, like, I know what I want, man. Like, I'm not saying like I get maybe I'm a little too loud or okay, whatever, but there is a certain, like, if you're making me turn down past the normal, I don't know. It's just like
I know
it's
what you
like,
mean.
does that ever happen to you?
Live sound. It's always tricky. Like if you're playing a venue and you hear your sound more out there than from your source.
Right, right.
And it's our job to like, what's the word? Kindly
I
negotiate
was
with the
just saying
sound person. Negotiate with the sound person, but dude, I know what you mean. I was like sound checking a venue, I don't know, last month, and we were rehearsing a tune, and like the sound guy was like putting a mic on my amp, and he was like messing with the volume knob during the sound check, and like I literally turned back and I went, "Yo!" Because we're like playing, and then he just stopped, and I was like, I probably could have been a little nicer, but at the same time, it's like taking the fucking saxophone out of my hand when I'm playing. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, I totally know what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like but like for me, like I like the amp that I want to use, preferably, or something like it, and there's a reason.
Hmm.
Like I'm not just saying it for no, like, you know what I mean? It's like I feel like it's, and I finally have somewhat found the sound that I like. I don't know. It's just like like I feel like we get overlooked so much in that realm. So we've all seen the memes where it's like the classic guitar player memes, whatever. But like I don't know. It does kind of bother me sometimes because I'm like, aren't you guys like sound nerds? Like, isn't that the whole definition of the job? Like,
It's a negotiation, just like when you play standards with a trio you've never played with. It's like everyone has preconceived ideas, but everyone also needs to assess what's going on and meet in the middle. It's the same way with playing venues, dealing with sound people is
yeah,
like, finding a middle ground,
yeah.
knowing what you like, knowing what you're going for, and finding the right way to get there. Yeah, it's really interesting.
So you recorded and you're in. What are you mixing right now?
Yes. Basically, I'm 3 edit sessions in, and
Okay.
God bless my engineer Tally Sherwood because I've been riding him pretty hard. But it's, I mean, I feel that like recording an album is one of the most special things ever, because if you really have a body you truly love, you truly gave good effort making the music's printed. This whole process of things you do with it after it's printed, that's like the other half of the whole process, if not sometimes more, unless you're really just doing like an old school Blue Note thing where you're laying it down, you do 1 3 hour mixing session, it's done. This is not that. I mean, this is like, these songs are very special to me. They have things that I put into them, and even more things that I'm trying to draw out from them. And so like the post process of editing, mixing, sound tweaking, moving things around, like it's amazing, and I love it. So
Oh,
I'm
man,
deep in it.
you're setting the dials on your amp. I love it. I'm in.
Absolutely, man.
I
Absolutely.
love that you're doing like like it's like a whole world that you're trying to build. It seems like I think that's cool. Rather than and it's cool to also like you said, like Blue Note style. Just we're gonna come in, we're gonna play tunes, and like that's a thing too. But I mean, it's yeah.
They're both really special, and they're both
I
very
agree.
different. And this album is not that. This album is very much, I remember listening to a Pat Metheny interview once, and he said, yeah, the band was in the studio for a few days, and then once they left, I was really able to get under the hood of the music. And I was like, wow, what a cool concept. It's like they made the music, there was that whole thing, and then he's got this whole thing where now he's gonna, I mean, you've heard like what two different mixing engineers can do to a song. Like what you do in that post printing process, it can change the whole thing. And
Yeah.
so it's important to like try different things.
Okay, I gotta ask you. You brought up Matheny, and I forgot. I don't know how I forgot, but didn't you get to meet him because you did the guitar thing? Like, wait,
I
you gotta
did.
tell me about that, dude. I got to
Yes.
see. I met him the other day briefly when he was in
Really.
town.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if you remember, did you ever read an article that maybe there was a few, but there was like some heckler that was heckling?
Yes.
Okay, so I was at that
I
show.
did read that. Yeah. Yeah. So in 2019, I was a semi-finalist in the Herbie Hancock guitar competition, which was awesome. And, basically the best part was getting to play for like John Schofield, Pat,
Right.
McAfee, Lionel Lueke, like Lee Ritenour, Russell Malone. Like, you fucking kidding me?
Dang.
Wow. And I gala afterwards. I did to briefly meet Matheny, just because in my early years, I mean, Matheny like was God, and I
Uh,
mean, he still is God to me. But like, I listen to him so much. I listen too much, and I sound like him. Like, you know, I sound like him anymore, but like those early developmental years for me, man, Matheny, like what he's done, just beyond playing, but what he represents and the standard that he holds himself to, it goes beyond even music. It's
right.
just like, wow,
He's like a
like
little. He's like a little monk.
he is like a monk. And so, and I remember I got to meet him. He was really nice. I said, Pat, it's an honor to meet you. Your music has really been so massively special and influential to me. He's like, oh, thanks. It's great to hear you play. He's very cool about it. And I'm thinking, I literally hear people say this to him 5 times a day. And every time someone says it to him, they mean it every bit as much as I do from the bottom of my heart. But I was like, Pat, your music changed my life. And he's like, thanks. I was like, this guy hears this all the time.
Yeah.
Gotta give it up, man. He is a true, like, a leader of, and I mean, that type of style isn't for every musician. I mean, he lives in the work and in the process and in the music, and he just lives in that, and it shows, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was so cool to hear him play solo. Like he just played for
Oh,
2 hours solo.
oh,
And it was crazy, man. He had like this one part. I mean, it's classic Matheny. The guy's just on a sick one. I love it. He had this MIDI guitar set up that was like it looked like he was just like attached to cables on like a hospital bed, sort of. Just there was all these cables everywhere, and then the like curtain dropped, and there was like behind him were all these percussion instruments that
so
were
he's doing the
hooked up.
orchestrion thing.
Yeah, it was like crazy, dude. And
Hmm.
it was so like it was just I was like, man, of course this is like so Matheny. It was just so cool.
You know, Matheny is an example of, he's got a song like Last Train Home, which is the most lyrical, singable, interpretable, playable, listenable song. It's like an ear bug. You hear it and it's in your ear and you could just sing it for the rest of your life. And then he's got all these albums with the Pat Metheny group, all these albums under his own name with all this different stuff. He just runs the gambit. He's got and he does covers. You listen to him play "And I Love Her" by the Beatles on acoustic guitar. It's like, and it sounds like a Matheny song because
Right.
he is the music, and he, whatever music he chooses to play, whether it's his or someone else's, it is him. He is it. How's that for
No,
how's that
hey,
for this hour's like guru chat?
no, I love it, dude. Because sometimes it's hard to explain to put this stuff into words. And
Yeah,
it's like it's I don't know. It's we like this stuff. It's cool. I don't care. Like I get what you're saying.
it's magic.
Yeah, man.
Magic.
I totally get what
And there's the wizard behind the curtain with all the buttons and everything. That is a part of music, but there's a magic to music. And when you experience that, you get goosebumps.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I mean, it's so how often are you traveling like a lot? Like how is that for you? Are you into that? Like what is it like?
I have been a road dog the last, 5+ years. There was a period during COVID where no one was touring. That aside, I mean, I've been on the road a lot, and
Yeah.
it's really been interesting because I've learned a lot of ways just in a general lifestyle to be able to excel at everything I want to do while being on and off the road, because being on the road, I mean, it can affect your health, it can affect your mental health, it can affect your sleep, it can affect your diet, I mean, so, and again, looking to someone like Matheny who's lived on the road for decades.
Yeah. Good
So
point.
I like being on the road, and I'm very, I'm 34 years old. Like the next 24, no, I'm sorry, the next 20 years, I would like to be on the road as much as the road wants me on the road.
Mhm.
Because I've really crafted my lifestyle around it. I mean, I have a consistent daily routine that actually on halfway around the world, it's basically the same general routine, and everything else is different. Um, I don't drink anymore. I try to eat healthy. Definitely exercise. Just constant that like you still want to or in Indiana or in Oakland or in Long Beach, whatever. You know what I mean? Has really given me a deeper connection to like when you're on the road, especially like I said, a string of gigs, whether it's with Arturo, your own group, whatever. It's a special thing, man. And you are just in this zone with the music where
Yeah,
the world is happening still and things are happening at home and you're dealing with things and text messages. But at the same time, it's like, well, the only thing really happening today is the gig tonight,
I see what you're
you
saying.
know? So, I feel that you can't reach that heightened level of music connection unless you spend prolonged time on the road where you're really just, no matter what else is going on, what's really happening tonight is the gig.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And if mentally you're not there, and if mentally the gig is not what's really happening, then you're not getting the most out of being on the road, and it'll
Right.
probably suck.
Yeah.
So it's like you will get what you put into it, and I found myself into it, and that's what gives me the most out of it.
Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
it's a perfect fit, man. I'm happy for you. That's cool that
Thank you.
you're
Yeah.
getting to shred guitar, dude. It's tight.
And guitar a thing you travel on your back,
Yeah,
so it's like me too. You're traveling halfway around the world, room, still playing guitar. There's something unique about the guitar. It's this thing that you hold, that you carry. Guitar.
how you're kind of breaking up.
Uh-oh. I lost you for a moment. Did you get
Yeah.
that?
You were talking about how you like how you can carry your guitar. You carry it on your back, but then I kind of lost you after that.
That's the point. Where no matter where you are, you have your guitar with you.
No, I get what you mean. I think it's like a little. I totally know what you mean. It's cool to be able to like go to a gig, and you're going from one to the next, and you're just doing it through your guitar, and you got that thing slung around your back, and it's like, I get it. I get what you're saying. I dig it. I think it's tight. Um, I hope the internet gods will rain their mercy on us right now. So,
It's the best.
um, let's see. Yeah, there he is. I see him. Anyways, this is great no matter what happens, man. I love it. This is cool just to hang out and chat with you. So,
Absolutely. Do
um,
you have any fun projects coming up, or what's next for you?
I just got some gigs I've been doing in town. I would really like this year. I want to record some stuff, like you're saying, and it would be nice to. I'm working with some great musicians here in San Diego, in like jazz world and like the like gospel kind of R&B world. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I have some ideas and I would like to do, I feel like that's the next thing I need to do. So that's something I would like to do. Just trying to practice. Playing. I'm trying to write more music.
What have you been practicing? What do you like to practice?
It depends. Like I've been kind of trying to do what you're doing. You're a little more diligent about it than I am right now, which I think I'm gonna have to get some inspiration through that. Where I kind of miss writing stuff, and I realized that I miss it. So now I'm trying to like sit down and like I revisited some ideas that I've never really hashed out. The way I don't know. I guess for me, I just like kind of go with what feels nice, and I like writing certain. Like I just like writing harmonically in certain ways, at least right now. and I just want to kind of like print those out, kind of like like you said, and then maybe move on to something else. Or but like I have certain ways that I hear things, at least right now, from my all my experiences, and I want to like try and get those out. So by sitting down and trying to hash some of those out, I forgot it feels good.
It does feel good. And I think it develops, like, if you're a player, you develop your playing style with writing.
Yeah, and it's so much a part of
Yeah.
the jazz ethos. Like it's like that historically that's what those guys did. And you see, and when you study all the songs, because like that's we study all these songs, and you
Yeah.
see it from like swing era all the way to bebop and after, and then onward, and it's like you see how for me, I don't know. I play guitar. I like thinking about chords and bass notes and melodies and playing. I can. We're lucky because we can play those together.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a
Yeah.
pain in the ass, but like you can play them together, and it's really cool. So not everyone gets to do that. Like horn players don't really get to do that. They have
Yeah.
they don't play it together. I mean, that's they play piano. But I'm just saying when you play a song or whatever, like they're implying things, but like for us, it's nice because you can just be like especially if you're playing by yourself or something, you can just play a bass note that you want to hear. Like I did last night at my gig. Like we were playing. What were we playing? Oh God. Oh yeah, it's called I've been playing this tune recently because this guy John Reynolds I know was like playing at a gig. I was like, yeah, I like this song. It's called Biru Kurasai or something like that. I think it means beer please in Japanese, someone told me. But I might be wrong. But anyways, it's written by who is it called? Oh God, I'm spacing. Jim Rotundi and Eric
Oh,
Alexander. Is that right?
okay.
I think that's right. Anyways, it's like a hip hop tune, and at the end, I like looked at the bass player. I was like, "Hey, and don't play E flat, play B at the last one." And I was like, "Not right now. Like we're tagging it." And I was like, "But play B at the end." And he said, "Okay." And I was like, "Ready, go." And then we did it. I was just like, "Yeah." And I just like, I like being able to do those kinds because I feel like my ear is so much better now that I really hear. I know what it's gonna sound like if we play that chord. It's like, and I want that sound. It's gonna be tight.
Yeah, gaining fluency in the language of music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like there's certain little tendencies that I've kind of acquired through playing with all my church friends and like, just non-jazz players, quote unquote, even though they're all jazz players at heart. I tell them, I'm like, the minute you guys decide to seriously play jazz, it's game over. Like these guys are going to take over.
But if they're playing music, that's it.
No, I know. I'm just saying they're so good at improvising and like it's just like they do it in a different way and it's just they don't play those other tunes. But if they did, it's like these guys would be swinging they'd be like Corey Henry's everywhere, just on every
Yeah.
instrument. Just like,
Well, again, man, it's like the feeling is stronger than the content.
right, 100%.
And
Yeah.
and that can be the feeling part, which I was equating to blues music earlier, but beyond blues, the feeling, that's a different thing. And like when you're a physical technician, which is kind of what I come from guitar wise, is technician based practice habits. Like sometimes that doesn't have a lot of feeling. It can, but just backing off the digits being input into a bit of music and less digit, more feeling. And then you see, oh my God, it's infinite.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like,
I know exactly
you know,
what you mean. Yeah, and that's a hard thing to try and to teach someone. You can lead them to water, but they kind of have to want to drink it and really figure it out. And it's different for everyone. You're right, but it's like you're singing it, man. That's sick. Like that's what it is. And it's like
I think the way that oh, sorry, go on.
oh no, you're right. You're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the way that someone can learn to do that is just by hearing something that really speaks to them in that way, that gets them to stop everything they're doing and go, that's doing something different to me. What is that? And then you're off.
Yeah, you know what? And I've realized I'm kind of becoming a huge proponent of like I try with some of my students. I'm like, look, they're gonna like we're supposed to like have you read these things and like do certain things, and it's like it's very quantitative and like You got
Mhm.
and it's good. It's not bad, and it's sometimes more efficient. And like, here's the piece of paper, and you got to learn the. And it's like, but at the same time, I also tell them, I'm like, look, but if you really want to learn it, like, we should be able to sit down and just like I say something and then you say something and then I say something and then you say something and then we just keep going back and forth and we don't even talk. Like I'm not even going to talk. I'm going to talk, but I'm going to talk through guitar. And you have
Yeah, that's a great point, man. And we're both guitar players. The learning curve of guitar is so strange compared to like piano. There's such a just it's like not even vertical. It literally almost inverts. Like if someone goes like, "How do I learn chord inversions?" You go, "Oh boy," like, and yeah, you could get into it with them, but like more importantly, it's like you want to instill again, coming back to the blues or coming back to 145, like that's your canvas, and inside of that, like let's just like play some notes that like have some feeling. And if you instill that, all the other stuff they will like start to like get going on their own. But like the most valuable thing you can instill, to someone who's wanting to learn music is like that enjoyment of like input and giving and the music giving it back.
yeah.
And like sitting there going, okay, well, practice or drop two chord inversions across the E and A strings. It's like I was one of those guys in college that wanted to do that. And,
I mean, well, the thing
you
is,
know,
there's nothing wrong with that.
no, no.
That's also very, and I don't like when other people say that that's bad. So I agree with you because I feel like that is important too. And to say that these jazz musicians or any other serious musician, whatever you want to call them, to say that they don't do that, I think is crazy. Because like you're telling me that like there's no way Bud Powell didn't sit there and like think about it. Like like what are you
Of
talking
course, man. Of course. Yeah. But and you put them in with the intention of like learning it and then transcending it.
Yeah, yeah. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, exactly. It's like they also know how to play the shit out of a blues. And it's just like that, there's certain things that yeah, I really like that man. I've been trying to do both mentalities like a lot. Like I'm really trying to I have like I have a very specific way of how I hear things. And
Yeah.
it's just how I like, and I like it. For me it works. And and it's been interesting to kind of communicate with the my jazz side of my brain and then like the like church side of like this is how we play over. And it's like I love, and they're the exact same thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But anyways,
Absolutely.
I love how you say, I love how you just keep coming back to, well, it's just the blues. Cause every time I'm making my stupid little YouTube videos, I'm like, it's blues, baby. Every time I just go back to the same
Man,
track.
and it's so funny. Like at the age of 34, I just love the blues. Now, the blues is a loaded word, just like jazz is a loaded word. If I say the blues, actually, sometimes I'll just think about an endless sea of like guitar players, like playing various bullshit over the blues. What the blues really is just like the ultimate lyrical palette
Mhm.
of like modern Western music, right? Like it really defines like this era that we live in, not even just the country we live in, this era that we live in of like music. There was like the classical era, um, et cetera, et
There's
cetera.
definitely a timestamp of like, I know exactly what you mean. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean.
Whereas the blues, in however it manifests, whether it's a blues or not,
Right, 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 right,
I
right.
mean, like I hear the blues in Bob Dylan music. I hear the blues in all kinds of artists that aren't playing blues.
Right.
So the blues almost doesn't give it justice.
Yeah.
It being
All of those things. Yeah.
the lyricism and the organic melodic like creation.
Mm.
Organic creation. Let's change the name of blues to OMC.
You're hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something and I just forgot. Oh, you know what always trips me out is like the like because you're recording, you did your thing, you're working on it, and it's like it's so empowering for me and us to like be able to do that because like historically those guys couldn't do that. You know, they had to go to a record label or they didn't have the gear. Whatever, it was
Hmm.
great. It wasn't the same. We didn't, you know, we all have laptops, so you can get one and do, you know, go to a studio real quick, or you can make one at your house, whatever. But like, it always trips me out how the recording. Thank God the recording like technology and like jazz creation, and they kind of feel each other. But like, thank God it happened at this right time because like we can just literally like peek in to those like old school recordings and it's like I mean it's kind of wild. It's like
We
now
live in the most time of like being able to look back on everything
right.
and we have so much available to us. It's like option paralysis. Anyway, I didn't let you ask the question though. What was your question?
Oh no, I was just you made me start thinking about the recording stuff. I just like thinking about like the way the timing works. It's like imagine if you didn't get to hear Charlie Parker.
I know, I know. I mean, like, we've never heard Mozart play, we've never
That's what I'm
heard
saying. Yeah.
Bach play, and yet, we know, like, passed down by word that they were great improvisers. Yeah, we are. I mean, man, like, I'm and and what it is,
Hey,
things that
hey, hang on. I don't know. Can you hear me?
guys did, and I almost have an yeah.
Hey, you broke. This is so ironic because we're talking about how incredible technology is, and I can't hear a word you're saying.
Technology, and then it shits out. No, man. I mean, technology. When we should embrace it, and we should continue to interact with it, and we should also have time away from it.
Uh,
But it will continue to just like synapse together with music more and more.
yeah. So, Will, where can people find like? Oh, well, I think what is it? Willbrom.com. Is that it?
Yeah, they can go to my website. Check out my Spotify. I'm gonna have my first single out from the new album, hopefully in March. So go to Spotify if you can and click subscribe.
Oh yeah.
There's music of mine up there already. Definitely recommend you do that. I'm on YouTube. Instagram's a great way to see what I'm doing. I've got a West Coast tour coming up in a couple weeks, starting in Los Angeles at Sam First on January 17th. So
Go
anyone,
on there and check out the list.
yeah, yeah, I'll be in Los Angeles, Ventura, Paso Robles, Oakland. So I hope
Yeah.
you guys, especially the LA show, anyone in LA, please come to Sam First on the 17th. It's gonna be a
So
great
how's Sam
groove.
First? I still haven't been there, but I see it all the time. I want to go there one day. I just never really make my way up there.
It's a cool spot. It's pretty intimate. The
Okay.
sound is nice. The vibe. It's definitely a listening room.
Oh, cool.
And it's a special room. It's very close to LAX, which is kind of strange, but
That's what I
there
heard.
it is.
Okay. So what about the album when you finally release it? Like, how are you going to do that?
Yeah. Well, I think what I'm going to do with this, because I love just researching how music is released these days,
Hmm.
I'm going to basically release one single at a time
Okay.
because every song on it is so special to me. I give every song a chance to like be at the forefront.
Yeah.
So I'm going to release 8 singles,
All right.
and at the end of that, there will be the album.
Cool. That sounds
Yeah.
great. Yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, thanks for taking the time to do this, dude. Thanks for being.
Thanks for having me. It's good to catch up.
I know, man. Honestly, we got to hang out like in real life one day.
Yeah.
We should we'll have to try and plan something.
Yeah, I'll try to get back down there. I had a fun show at the Jazz Lounge.
Yeah, I forgot you went to yeah, Leonard's spot. Nice.
And I'll come down. I'd love to hear you play. I know you're still running a jam session down there, or
Yeah, I do one on Thursdays.
cool. One
Uh,
of these days, I definitely will. And we've got a lot of friends, mutual friends down there. Yeah.
Definitely. And if I go, I gotta. Sometimes I'm making my way through LA, but I should make it a point to like go and see what's up and try and find you guys when you're in town.
Dude, if you're around January 17th, I mean, it's
February
coming up to
17th.
LA,
Okay, what
but
is that day?
it's a Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesdays might be well.
I mean, look, if you're around, love to have you there.
Where's it? Where is that? The Sam first one?
Yeah,
Oh, all right. I might have to come to that. Okay.
dude, come out and hang. It's a cool spot. You know,
All right. Let me think if I'm missing anything. Website, Instagram, sick. Record, sick. Well, cool, man. Keep shredding. We'll have to catch up some more. Maybe we can do one of these in person next time. That'd be tight.
that'd be great.
But thank you for doing this, man. I think it was fun. It was just nice to talk, to like catch up and see you. Keep shredding.
Likewise.
And hell yeah.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, bro. We'll stay in touch, and hopefully I see you soon.
All right, I'll see you soon. Take care.
See you, bro.
See ya.